Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of Reddit Podcast Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Sister demands I give her one of my twin babies and my mother backs her up. After that, am I the jerk for leaving my husband for a Christmas trip to Hawaii with our kids? And after that, my brother is accusing me of ruining Christmas after I told his wife the truth about a family name. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get any leftover turkey. Yeah, I'd prefer ham to be honest. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Sister demands that I give her one of my twin babies and my mother backs her up. So I, 27 female, am an identical twin. Now there's this idea that twins, especially identical twins, have an automatic connection. Well, this is not true with us. Mostly because we grew up in different homes. At 13, our parents split, and I chose to live with my dad, and she chose to live with our mother. And she ended up taking on my mother's, I'm better than everyone else, and the world should bow down to me attitude. This attitude is a huge reason I chose to live with my dad. My mother cared a lot about appearance and what people thought, and because I wasn't a perfect kid, she treated me horribly. Well, my sister was her perfect girl, and pretty much her personal mini-me. I wasn't. First, I went through a punk/tomboy phase through middle school and into high school, which I still somewhat incorporate into my style and personality today. My sister was also pretty popular throughout high school. She had a lot of friends, and well, I had 3 friends. And guess what? I was considered a nerd. After our parents split, I would spend every first weekend with my mother and my sister spent every second weekend with me and my dad. I stopped going to my mother's house when I was 15. I had started dating another girl from school. My mother accused me of just looking for attention. My relationship with her became strained after that. Well, flash forward 7 years to when my sister and I were 22. My sister and her boyfriend were trying to have a baby, but they couldn't seem to get pregnant. After a year of trying, they found out that she's not physically able to have kids. Well, I felt bad for her, but I didn't think much of it as I thought there was nothing I could do to help. Turns out my sister and mother thought differently. We were all at my aunt's house for her birthday when my sister and mother pulled me aside. Mother: So, you know about your sister's doctor visit? Me: Yeah, I'm so sorry. I know how much you wanted it. Mother: Well, we actually figured out a way that she can have a baby. Me: Is she going to adopt? Sister: No, we can't do that. It costs too much. Oh, well then what's your plan? Mother: I remembered something I saw online a while back, so I looked it up. And since you two are twins, if you have a baby, she will be just as biologically related to it as if she had one herself. Me: Wait, you want me to get pregnant and carry the baby? Yes, it's a perfect situation. Me: That is not happening. OP, she is your sister, and you can help her. Stop being so selfish. Me: I'm not being selfish. Getting pregnant is a big deal, and it will take literally 9 months of my life. I have a job. I had also just started a new relationship with a guy, and getting pregnant would likely have made things awkward. And last but not least, I just didn't want to be pregnant. They started going in on me, on how I need to help my sister, and trying to guilt trip me into doing it. I wasn't taking it, and made it clear that it wasn't going to happen. I thought that was the end, but then a year later, despite all attempts to prevent it from happening, I got pregnant. My boyfriend at the time, who I had only been dating for a year, and I wasn't sure what to do. We talked about it and all the options, but we decided to go through with the pregnancy. I kept my pregnancy secret for as long as I could, but once I started showing, I announced it online, which resulted in a call from my sister. Sister: So, you're pregnant? Me: Yeah. What happened to not wanting kids? Well, accidents happen, I guess. So, since you never wanted a kid, you could let us adopt it. Me: What? Well, you always said you never wanted kids, and this one was an accident, so you should let us adopt it. No, not happening. This is me and my boyfriend's baby, and we're going to raise it. But you said you didn't want kids. Well, I changed my mind. It happens. That's not fair. I hung up on her after that. I wasn't in any mood to fight. She then tried to get my mom to guilt trip me into giving her the baby. And despite my reminder that even if I didn't want the baby, I couldn't just give it to them, as my boyfriend was the father and he had rights to the kid. They didn't seem to understand. Now if you thought it ended there, nope. Well, when we went in for a checkup, I found out that I was having twins, which in a way wasn't a big surprise since being a twin myself gave me a higher chance at having them. I took a while to come to terms with having one baby, so finding out I was going to have two was a huge shock. I was still pretty freaked out about having twins, but decided to announce it, which resulted in another call from my sister. "You're having twins?" "Yeah, apparently. Ironic, right?" "So, can I have one?" "What?" "Since you're having twins, I can have one." "No, you can't." "Why not? You have two." "Yeah, I am having two. They are my babies, and me and my boyfriend will be raising both." "But that's not fair." I hung up again as I wasn't going to fight her. But then my mother calls me, and this is the conversation. Mother: "Your sister just called me crying." "Okay." "Can't you just give her one of them? You know how much she wants a baby." Me: "That's not my problem. These are my kids. She can always adopt. There are plenty of kids looking for homes." "OP, why do you always have to be so difficult and selfish? You never even wanted these kids in the first place. Would it hurt you to give one to your sister?" Me: "This is ridiculous. She's not getting either of my babies." After some more attempting at guilt-tripping me, they finally stopped demanding I give them a baby. But that didn't stop them from overstepping with the kids on multiple occasions. Context: it's been a few years now, and the boys are about to turn 5. Over the last few years, I had to fight with my mother and sister about some weird and honestly disrespectful stuff that they've done. Maybe I'll share more of these stories here too. Depends on if anyone in my family finds this one or not. Edit: I should have added this in the beginning. I have low to no contact with my sister and mother as of now. I live very far from them. Our contact is purely social media. Facebook. Am I the jerk for leaving my husband for a Christmas trip to Hawaii with our kids? Every year, my family spends our Christmas in Hawaii. We've done it every year since I can remember, and it's a fun family tradition for me. After me and my husband had kids, we had to reorganize our family Christmas plans because his parents wanted to see our kids for Christmas. So we decided that we would celebrate Christmas with his parents on New Year's and go to Hawaii for actual Christmas. This is the system that worked for us until last year. Last year, his dad passed around this time of the year, and it hit him and his mom hard. For obvious reasons, we didn't go to Hawaii. This year, we planned out what we'd do for the holidays early. We'd do Thanksgiving with his mom, and we'd do Christmas in Hawaii, since me and the kids missed out last year. Things were going well until right before our flight. About a week out, he said he was unsure. He said that he thinks it might be better that we stay. He said he really wanted to spend Christmas with his family and felt like his mom really needed it. I was unhappy about this. We made a plan, we saw her last month, and we already had my dad buy our tickets and hotel, so it would be incredibly unfair to me, him, and our kids for us to just not go for his mom, who we'd see again in a few days after we got back anyways. We got into an argument about it and proposed that me and the kids can go to Hawaii and he can stay there with his mom. He decided to do this, but he was very clearly upset that I wasn't going to forego my family's Christmas tradition and seeing my family just for his mom. So now I'm in Hawaii, watching and wrangling the kids by myself, while he's home alone. He hasn't texted me or responded to me much. When I call him, he only talks for about 3 minutes before wanting to get off the phone with me and talk to the girls. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk, because you stayed home the first year after his dad passed, and you had agreed to the Thanksgiving and Christmas arrangement for this year. He changed his mind after all the arrangements were made. However, I think you and your husband need to talk about this more. Where are he and his mom in their grieving processes? How does he envision things working in future years? Does he want every Christmas with his mom now? Does he want to do alternate Christmases? Or is this year just particularly hard for both of them? Also, is there an option to have your mother-in-law join you in Hawaii since she's on her own? No jerks here. I feel for your husband. He lost his dad a year ago and his mom is spending Christmas without her partner. With plane tickets bought and hotels arranged, a week out is not enough time to change plans. I agree with you about not wanting to cancel and taking the kids to see your family. I do think you need to cut him some slack here though. The holidays can be really hard for people who have lost loved ones recently. I think you're all doing your best in this situation, and I don't think there is any right answer here. Hopefully, your husband can join you next year, and maybe you could have a conversation about that when you get back. Info: why not just bring his mom to Hawaii? OP doesn't pay for it. Yes, it would be rude to ask her parents to cover mother-in-law. OP and her husband should have covered the cost for mother-in-law to go to Hawaii with them. Maybe they aren't financially comfortable enough to do so. Maybe, but a family that can afford an annual trip to Hawaii sounds like there's enough lying around for one extra domestic plane ticket. Or split it. Mother-in-law may have financial ability. Moreover, Christmas at home generally will cost half of an airline ticket anyway. There's accommodation already paid for on the other side. You're the jerk for this. After me and my husband had kids, we had to reorganize our family Christmas plans because his parents wanted to see our kids for Christmas, so we decided that we would celebrate Christmas with his parents on New Year's and go to Hawaii for actual Christmas. What part exactly did you reorganize? You still kept going to Hawaii every year. It was your husband's parents who changed their Christmas celebration to New Year. Obviously, husband shouldn't have waited till after the tickets were bought before voicing his concerns, but it really doesn't sound like it would have made a difference. You make it sound like your father-in-law passing away last year was just an inconvenience that kept you from going to your trip, and you're failing to show your husband any empathy. You're just thinking about yourself. You're the jerk. I'm honestly shocked that you guys would even plan for Hawaii this year. How much of this was his idea and not just your urging? He didn't lose his dad months before Christmas last year. He basically lost him and laid him to rest during Christmas. And it didn't occur that this year may be hard for him and his mother? That he might not be in an aloha spirit? That his mom might not want her son and grandbabies to be gone while she mourns for her husband? You do Hawaii every year. This is the first. I don't care how hard you argue that it's his second and that he should be fine. Holiday season without his dad. It's the anniversary of his dad passing. You were wrong for even booking the tickets and not saying, "Hey honey, this could be a tough one. Let's just spend Christmas at home with your mom and maybe we can all do Hawaii next year." Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her husband? Please let us know. My brother is accusing me of ruining Christmas after I told his wife the truth about a family name. I can't figure out if I did anything wrong, or if so, what, because I honestly have no idea what's going on. Hopefully someone here can give me a clue. Here's the relevant info as far as I know. My brother and his wife are expecting their first girl after 2 boys. I love Ricky and Jace, and so does my sister-in-law, but she has always wanted a girl and is very excited to be having one. She also wants to name the girl Chloe, as she loves that name. My brother hates the name Chloe and really wants to name their daughter Stephanie. They've been arguing about it for a few weeks since finding out the gender. I got to my parents' house late last night, and my sister-in-law was the only person still awake. We talked for a little bit, and she asked me the weirdest question. She asked me if I knew any stories about Great Aunt Stephanie. I was so confused. I literally said, "Who?" Sister-in-law clarified that she was talking about our grandmother's older sister that passed when grandma was still little. Our grandma had 2 sisters, but their names were Judy and Lynn. There's no one in our family named Stephanie, as far as I know. I told as much to my sister-in-law, and she changed the subject after that, and we soon went to bed. This morning, my brother and his wife were both sulking during breakfast. Even the kids could tell. Ricky kept saying, "Stop being grumpy on Christmas." So it wasn't just my imagination. I got my brother alone and confronted him. He snapped at me for meddling and told me to stay out of his marriage. My brother is upset at me, and my sister-in-law won't even talk to me. I'm afraid to say anything to my parents and drag them into this, especially since I still don't know what this is. Either my grandmother had a secret sister that I don't know about, but my brother does for some reason, or my brother lied to his wife to convince her to name their baby Stephanie. Both options seem equally weird to me. Maybe there's a third possibility I'm not seeing. Reddit, am I the jerk? If so, please explain to me why. I don't want to be the reason Christmas is ruined. Update. Most awkward Christmas Eve dinner ever. Gotta keep this short, a lot going on. Everyone now knows what my brother was doing and the kids' names, except the kids obviously. They are upset. Weirdly, my mom is the most upset. A Christmas truce is in place for the kids, so no fighting on the holiday. However, the baby is definitely going to be named Chloe. My brother very quickly backed down when my mom said some few choice words to him. The topic is completely banned for the rest of festivities, so for now at least, they've tied a bow on the situation. Christmas morning update. Aside from some glaring over a couple of the boys' stocking stuffers, Robin Funko Pops, everything went well with the gift opening. as well as being woken up at 5:30 a.m. by being jumped on by one nephew's can. I think my brother realizes he crossed a line and has been very attentive to his wife. He mentioned getting Chloe's name embroidered on some stuff when they get home. He even told Mom he would do the Christmas breakfast so she could have a break, and he gave me an "I'm sorry" grin when I opened his gift. I think everything is going to be fine. Not the jerk. You cannot be expected to maintain lies you are not aware of, if you even view maintaining convenient lies as one of your duties in the first place. Way too many of these questions are because some relative refused to lie to another relative or just didn't know that a lie exists. Not the jerk. I don't know why your sister-in-law is not talking to you. She asked a question and you answered honestly. And your brother either lied to you or lied to her. He's the jerk here. You didn't meddle. You brought the conversation up organically. Complain to whomever I want? You bet. The last school year has been challenging for me at work. I'm an English high school teacher, not in the US, and the work environment at that school has been going from bad to worse as the school year progressed. Our principal has created a very hostile and toxic work and learning environment that has made many young teachers leave, even at the start and middle of the year. Very uncommon in my country. I, 32, male, and many of the other teachers have felt bullied and oppressed. Our complaints went unheard and ridiculed, with the principal targeting many of us, young and experienced teachers alike, for public shaming sessions. And my turn came last week. I asked for a meeting with her to discuss my desire to go back to university next year to complete my thesis, which would have resulted in me taking Tuesdays off. All teachers in my country get a day off, which is usually for us to choose. As soon as I walked in, she called one of the administrators, and they both started a 30-minute shaming session. I was told that I'm a lousy teacher, my classes are boring, they never attended any of my classes, that I've conspired to ruin English teaching at our school, and that students, parents, other teachers, and administrators have been complaining about me. She wants teachers to work full-time, which she knows I planned on doing anyway, and have been asking for it for 2 years, and advised me to take a break from teaching, unpaid leave. I was shocked and speechless. In my 3 years at that school, I received only praise from everyone I worked with. My students, their parents, and colleagues love me, to which I have written proof. The following day, I went ahead and turned in my notice. She called me a liar. I told other teachers what happened as they saw me coming out pale and on the verge of tears out of her office, and said that I couldn't take criticism. She has also started lying about me to her colleagues and other school principals. They all know me and told me. She also told me to complain to whomever I want. Cue malicious compliance. Following excellent advice I got on Am I the Jerk, I waited to file the complaint until I secured a new position. However, I decided to follow that last bit of advice from her. I sent it to whomever I thought might be interested, the Regional General Inspectorate, the Teachers Union, and other officials, an inspector I knew in my country's Ministry of Education, and the best part, every teaching college and program in a 200-kilometer radius, which included the most prominent and largest education programs in my country and area. Fallout. The principal had to beg the ministry to send them new teachers, as quite a few of us left at the end of last year. Most of the poor English teachers she did get contacted me via mutual friends and colleagues, asking me for help getting new positions as the work environment has only gotten worse, a request to which I gladly obliged. The complaint itself didn't impact the principal professionally, but she will have a pretty difficult time filling positions for the next few years. A few colleagues from that school will join me next year, as they kept calling me to vent about the worsening conditions there, so I just told them to send me their CVs, which my coordinator was more than happy to receive. As for me, I found a wonderful school outside of my city where I could rediscover my love of teaching. Not only have I found a place where I feel good, but I also found a second job. I now teach at my local college, where the hourly rate is 5 times my school salary. I've also found the courage to start something I always wanted to do, move to another country, which I'm on track to do in 2024. Was I wrong to file a police report on my neighbor? Tonight, a bunch of my neighbors called me out to tell me that my car had been sideswiped, along with another car in front of me. They saw the car leave. I thought I had no other option than to call it into my own insurance in the morning. Then some other neighbors came out and pointed at another car down the street parked in front of a neighbor. They said it was that car that hit mine. I walked down there and there's a party on the front lawn. I see the car and the damage to the front, and I asked them who the car belongs to and if they saw the accident. They all said no. It was apparently really loud and the whole street heard it happen. Then as I'm inspecting the damaged car, the neighbor finally comes out and says, "We will take care of it." And I was like, "Take care of what?" He said it was his car, and I asked who was driving and if I could talk to whoever was driving. He said the guy wasn't there and proceeded to say he'll come see me in the morning and take care of it. I said fine and walked back, but my neighbors were still congregating and said I needed to file a police report if I can't get any information from the guy. I went back and talked to the guy and explained I really need the info, or at least to meet the guy that was driving, or I need to file a report, and I really didn't want to do that, but I needed something. He kept saying I should trust him, and I told him it's not that I don't want to trust him, but it also doesn't help that he denied it when I initially asked and only came forward when I found his car. I said I wasn't angry, I just wanted to know what had happened. He said it was some young guys in the house, but he didn't want to go interrogate. I ended up calling the police to file a report, and he and his wife came out when the police came and said it was his wife that was driving and didn't want to confess because she was scared. I felt so terrible for calling the cops because I see this neighbor all the time. We don't speak, but we do say hi. I told my father afterward, and he said I did the right thing because they could deny it in the morning, or the suspect car could be gone. He said if they were honest people, they should have confessed in the beginning when he saw people coming out of their house to see what had happened. Also turns out the car in front of mine that got damaged belonged to one of their guests. Mine has door damage and a missing mirror, but theirs was in the back corner and wheel, and it seemed like it would be a totaled car. But I still feel guilty. Did I jump the gun by filing a police report? Not the jerk. They were messing you around, hoping you'd just go away and foot the bill for their DUI. Forget that. Calling the police was the right thing to do. Absolutely. I mean, come on, she was scared? Of course you're scared when you sideswipe somebody, but you're a grown adult. You did significant damage in front of an entire street of your neighbors. You don't hide and pretend like nothing happened. You're not 13. You know better than that. And an entire party and her husband playing along and denying it like this is high school and you're trying to make up a fake story for the principal. OP, do not feel bad because they're your neighbors and you see them all the time. You are their neighbor and they were willing to sideswipe your car, not say anything to you, and then lie to your face when confronted. Don't waste mental energy having more regard for them than they have for you. Come on, sideswiping 2 cars on a residential street and doing so much damage, one of them could have been described as totaled. That's either drunk or texting. Either way, it's careless driving. What if a kid had been playing? And it's not like you went over there just to shame her. You went over there and called the cops to make sure you were covered for the damage she did. If she feels ashamed, which she should, that's just a byproduct of having made a huge mistake. How I got our workshop repaired and revenge on my manager. So I know what people are going to say. If it was dangerous, why not just report it to health and safety? And my answer to that is that I am as thick as mints. Plus, I've seen how they butchered the workshop of another department, putting insane safety measures in place that do little to actually protect people and mostly just get in the way. The safety person is only technically qualified, meaning they're office workers that went on a course about it once. Go figure. So the situation was, I was working in a machining workshop. Mill, lathe, surface grinder, etc. And it's old and worn out. Everything needs maintenance, but either management don't give us the time, it needs new parts that management won't buy, or it needs a proper service from a professional that management won't get in. Then someone in health and safety asks about safety checks, which the manager in charge sheepishly mentions there are none. Officially at least. We have the sense to do them anyway. And so weekly safety checks are put in place. More paperwork. Ooh. But I don't mind. Knowing this manager, he expects them done like all other safety checks in the factory. Unless it's going to hurt someone, sign to say it's okay anyway, and let him know so it can be fixed later. That way the machines don't get stopped constantly. But I realize the potential. Want me to do the checks? Sure, I'll do the checks perfectly. Spindle brake on the lathe is worn out? Fail, locked off. Nobody can use it until it's fixed. No emergency stop on the big drill? Fail, locked off. Nobody can use it. Plastic housing for the wiring on the mill is broken? Fail, locked off. Nobody can use it, etc., etc. Safe to say, he wasn't happy. But what can he do? It's all recorded on paper, and machines in the factory are stopping because they need parts making. Then came the big one. For a while, we've noticed machines getting damaged overnight. Night shift. But we weren't sure how. All the machines are on key locks, and we have the only keys. I came back after break one day and find a machine operator turning on a bench grinder to sharpen a knife. Cue some colorful words about what he thinks he's doing, why it's wrong, what I'll do to him if he does it again, and I ask how he turned it on. Turns out, someone from night shift told him the lock is old and worn out, and basically any similar key will work just fine, no matter what the bidding. So I go around to check, and sure enough, my locker key, the kind everyone in the factory has, turns on every machine. Some even worked with a screwdriver or just using the back of another key because there was no lock left inside. Fail, 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 fail. Everything fails. Whole workshop stopped. If this was a cartoon, the manager's ears would be leaking steam by now. He insists that this doesn't count as a fail because reasons. Then that these locks with keys that control power aren't keyed interlocks, and so I don't need to check them before finally just insisting it's okay and I should pass it because he says so. Sure, I said. Just put it in writing that it's you saying it's okay, not me. Sure backed down quick then. A day or so later, new locks turned up and were fitted, and the problem of overnight broken equipment went away. In the end, the manager got an earful from his bosses about production delays and another from health and safety when they found out these issues had been reported for a long time without anything done about them. In all though, he got away pretty clean besides the bruised ego. And that's how the workshop went from old, crappy, and dangerous to just old and slightly less crappy. Oh, I'll just hold on to it. Leave it. It's fine. Not sure how many of you folks have dogs, specifically male dogs, but for anyone who doesn't, pro tip, anything upright and stationary can and will be peed on. Fire hydrants? Of course. Signs? Absolutely. Plants? You bet. Innocent bystanders who haven't moved recently. Oops. I swear that's only happened twice. One fine day about 2 years or so ago, my pupper and I were at the dog park, doing dog park things. I throw the ball, he chases it down. Sometimes he'll bring it back, sometimes he'll leave it random places. Sometimes he'll bring it to a random stranger in the park and look at them like they're soft, until they figure out he wants them to throw the ball. The entire time this is happening, the whole park is getting all the emails replied to, one spritz at a time. This particular time, we had the entire dog park to ourselves for a little while, and these two ladies come in with super cute beagle puppies. One woman sensibly didn't bring a bag with her into the park. She had pockets. The other lady had a very big bag, and it looked like it cost about as much as a used car. This was the kind where she'll get scoliosis from carting the thing around, but it's large enough to fit actual care and appliances. So these two ladies are standing there talking to each other and monitoring their puppies, which is good. I've more or less dissolved into a puddle of aw, and my dog makes friends because at that time in his life, he'd still play with other dogs. Then I noticed the woman with the bag has put her bag on the ground, which is the thing you do when you've probably got a car battery crammed in there with all the other stuff ladies need to carry when they're not permitted pockets by the cruel gods of fashion. I notice this and figure she's new. Once I've recollected myself from puddle form, I wait for an opportune moment and toss out an, "Excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but I just wanted to let you know that having your bag on the ground is a bad idea at the dog park. I've seen others hang it on the chain link fence," and I point at the fence that encloses the dog park. Not like there weren't over 9,000 available hangers for her bag. They both look at me in mild shock. Apparently, they hadn't noticed me gushing all over their cute puppies. Then they caught on to what I was saying, and the sensible lady looks at her friend and rolls her eyes, while the bag lady comes back with, "Oh, I'll just hold on to it," and picks up the bagzilla and slings it back over her shoulder. I shrug and buzz off, which was not a stated request, but was implied. Within 5 minutes, the doom bag is back on the ground, and I meander over because I see my dog go into a target lock mode. The stream is imminent. I attempt to give the woman a heads up and make it as far as, Bag lady looks at me and just snaps, "Leave it, it'll be fine." I give her a shrug and mosey over to somewhere clear of the blast radius. Not only does my dog have target lock, he's also parked himself uphill from the bag's impact crater. His leg lifts, and it's no spritz going into, not onto, her bag. It's a full stream. Realizing the most likely reaction from bag lady is a designer boot to somewhere, I shout, Dexter, no! At max volume and get the desired result. He looks at me and then doesn't escape and evades because he's a jerk like that sometimes. Both ladies look at me, then at the bag, and then at the dog. Sensible lady is fighting back tears while bag lady works herself up into a frenzy. How dare my filthy animal urinate on her valuable stuff? Don't I have him trained? Blah blah blah. She scruffs her puppy and holds him in her arms while maintaining a constant stream of castigation at me. It was honestly kind of impressive. Keeps shouting at me all the way over to her car, throws the puppy in, hope he's okay, and burns rubber leaving the park. Other lady bursts out laughing once the car is out of line of sight. She wheezes. At least you tried. How dare you stand near me? I work as a self-checkout clerk. It's my job to stand near the registers and make sure people don't steal stuff, and make sure any issues they have with our point-of-sale system get smoothed over. Because of what's going on, I also sanitize these registers. Late last night, I was doing just that when two women came up to the register I was trying to clean. I moved off a bit until I noticed that the receipt wasn't printing after she put in her money and went over to investigate. It said she still had $1.14 left to pay. She asked me why it wasn't printing, and I told her that before moving away. I stayed nearby because I still needed to clean the register. Are you staying here to make sure I don't steal $1.14? No, I just wanted to sanitize the register because sometimes people are gross. Since it's what I have to do next, I just want to stick around. You know we come through self-checkout to avoid people. I internally rolled my eyes. She paid and she left without her friend. Her friend had grabbed some food from the deli and decided she didn't want it. So I handed it off to another associate to return and went back to monitoring the area. A woman needed help scanning produce because it can be a pain in the butt on our system, stuff like that. I go back to the register I saw her at to get back my cleaner and paper towels and notice that there are still 2 items on the belt that haven't been scanned. Oh, are you going to pay for those in a separate transaction, or do you not want them? Well, I was going to pay for them in a separate transaction, but since you've been harassing me all night, I don't want them anymore. Ma'am, I'm sorry, that wasn't my intention. I was just trying to clean. You've been acting like I was planning on stealing these. I'm going to call and make sure your manager hears about this tomorrow. She picked up the 2 things that were still on the belt and threw them at me. Not very hard, and they were light, but it surprised me. Ma'am, I'm so sorry. If you want to talk with... Now you're trying to embarrass me in front of everyone to keep me from telling him what you did. I'm just trying to understand what I did so that I don't do it again. She grabbed the things she did pay for and left me with the super glue and electrical tape. Click this button to join as a channel member and we'll give you a shout out in our next video. Or come watch this video next, the one that just popped up on the screen.